Hello students, in the last class we have discussed about the production of sound in the human, and today we are going to discuss the production of sound in lab. So in laboratory, to produce sound we will use a tuning fork which is a sound producing instrument, physical instrument. So in laboratory, sound is produced by is produced by vibrating tuning fork. So here we have taken a thread which is suspended from a rigid wall and a tennis ball. A tennis ball is suspended with this thread. We are just changing the position of this tennis ball from the mean position to this position, and we are leaving the ball again. The ball, when strike with the given vibrating tuning fork, the tuning fork starts to vibrate and produce sound So this is the one of the best experiment in physics to produce sound, and you will use this tuning fork in lab. So the vibrations of tuning fork can be illustrated by touching a small suspended pith ball. Or cork ball, or sometimes tennis ball. So it is also known as cork ball or tennis ball. There is no need to confuse in pith ball, cork ball or tennis ball. So all the things are same. With a prong of sounding tuning fork. So in laboratory, by using tuning fork, we will produce the sound. Actually, here the air is the medium, and when this tuning fork strikes with air, it produces sound. So since the sound is a sensation, so it is sensed by our ears. Few other methods to produce sounds are sound can be produced by vibrating string, or by a vibrating thread, like in sitar or violin. Such type of musical instrument use vibrating string to produce sound. Vibrating air also produced sound, so we can write it as by vibrating air. You can take an example of flute. In flute, the sound is produced by means of vibrating air. Vibrating membrane You can take an example of drum or table. Drum or table are the example of membrane, and when you hit the table or hit the drum, it produces sound. By vibrating plates, in bicycle bell, two plates are vibrated so that the sound is produced. By friction of object, friction of objects sometimes produces sound. Scratching and scrubbing of objects also produces sound. So these are the ways to produce sound in lab, and in which tuning fork is most suitable way, and tuning fork is easily available in any physics laboratory. So these are few ways to produce sound. Now the next topic is propagation of sound. The sound propagates through a medium. Usually a medium is required to produce the sound. That medium may be solid, liquid or gas. When any object start vibration, then air particles around it also start vibrating and displace from their stable position, and this displacement causes the sound waves. So for the propagation of sound, there are some medium is required. So the substance through which sound travels, it's called a medium. So how to define the medium? The substance through which sound travels, which may be solid, liquid or gas. Solid, liquid or gas. So the sound is produced due to the vibration of object. So when an object vibrates, then the air particles around it also start vibrating in the same manner. And air particle usually displacing from their stable position and displaced from their stable position. So these vibrating particles of the object, vibrating air particles exert a force on nearby air particles or next air particles. So they displace from their rest position and start to vibrate. Let us take an example of tuning fork. I am just making it here. This is a tuning fork, and suppose it's vibrating. So this is the normal condition and this is the condition when tuning fork is vibrating. So when it touches the air particles nearby it, making a disturbance in the air particles, and air particles start to vibrate to and fro from their mean position. However, the density of particle are somewhere dense and somewhere less dense. Somewhere dense and somewhere less dense. So this is the air particles. These are the air particles. So where the density of particle is more, the portion is called as compression. The density of particles are less is called as rarefaction. And density of particles is more, so this is compression and rarefaction. So the sound waves propagate through these compression and rarefaction of this mechanical wave. This mechanical wave produced by means of air, produced by means of air particles. So these air particles are responsible to produce sound. So the vibrating air particles exert a force on nearby air particles. So they are displaced from their mean position. From their mean position. So the disturbance of air particles produces sound, and the sound travel in form of mechanical waves, and this sound travels in form of mechanical waves. Not all the mechanical waves are responsible to produce sound. Sound waves are usually longitudinal mechanical waves. Actually, here are two kinds of mechanical waves. One is longitudinal and another is transverse. So I am not going in the detail of these waves, but explaining only few part. Transverse. So longitudinal waves are the waves in which the particle of medium accelerates to and fro from its mean position. This position is to and this position is fro. So to and fro, left to right from mean position, and such type of vibration produces longitudinal waves. While in transverse wave, the particle of medium vibrates up and down. This is up position and this is down position. So in which the particle of medium vibrates up and down, it's called as transverse wave. So these are the differences, and usually sound is longitudinal mechanical wave. So sound is longitudinal mechanical wave. Where the air makes compression or the density of air particle is more, the portion of this longitudinal wave is called compression. Here the wave particles are compressed or suppressed. So when a body vibrates, it compress the air surrounding it, and it form a high density area, and this high density region or high density area is called as compression. In the figure, compression is denoted by C. So these are the high density region, and here the pressure is low. In the another region, the pressure is low and particles are separated from each other, easily separated from each other, or we can say that the density is less. And where the density is less, the region is called as rare fraction. So when vibrating body vibrates back a area of low pressure or less density, it's called rare fraction. Usually compression and rare fraction are sometimes asked. What is define compression and rare fraction in longitudinal wave or in sound waves? So you will define it as, this is rare fraction. In the figure, this area is denoted by R. So the longitudinal waves are propagated by means of compression and rare fraction, a regular pattern of compression and rare fraction. So the propagation of sound propagated by regular pattern of compression and rare fraction. So these compression and rare fraction are responsible for the propagation of sound. The most important thing is sound always needs a medium. And usually sound is longitudinal mechanical wave. So the next topic is characteristics of sound waves. The major characteristics of sound wave are wavelength, frequency, amplitude, time period, and velocity. These are the major characteristics of sound wave. We are going to discuss them one by one. The first one is wavelength. You know that sound propagates by means of rare fraction and compression. We are familiar with compression and rare fraction as it is discussed in the previous topic. So it was compression, rare fraction, again compression, and again rare fraction. So the wavelength is defined as the combined length of compression and adjacent rare fraction. Suppose from here to here, this is compression and this is rare fraction. So this length is defined as one compression and one rarefaction, is defined as wavelength and denoted by lambda. Another concept, the mid position of one rarefaction to the next rarefaction, or the center of one rarefaction to the next rarefaction, is also from this to this position, lambda. Suppose here is one another compression. So the mean position or center of one compression to the next consecutive compression, this is also lambda. So there are three definitions of wavelength. The length of compression and adjacent rarefaction. The length of two consecutive rarefactions and the length of two consecutive compressions. Usually this length is measured in case of rarefaction to rarefaction by center of rarefaction or by center of compression. So here are the three definitions of wavelength. Number one is in sound waves. The combined length of a compression and an adjacent rarefaction is called its wavelength. Second definition is distance between the centers of two consecutive compressions or two consecutive rarefactions. It's called its wavelength. The distance between the centers of two consecutive means just next wavelength. So it is denoted by a Greek letter lambda. Lambda. This symbol is called as lambda. Since it's a length, so what will be its units? Definitely it will be meter. So its SI unit is meter. Other units are centimeter, millimeter, etc. But the SI unit is meter. Now the next one is frequency. Second one is frequency. How many vibrations are produced in 1 second? In 1 second, it's called frequency. How many number of complete waves are produced in 1 second? It's called frequency. So the number of complete waves produced in 1 second or the number of complete waves is number of vibration, we can write it as number of vibration per second, number of vibrations per second. Per second is called frequency. It's called frequency. Also, vibrations means compression and rarefaction. One compression and one rarefaction, adjacent rarefaction, make a single vibration pattern. Single vibration pattern. So, the number of compression or rarefaction passed in 1 second is also called frequency. Another definition is the number of compressions or rarefactions passed in 1 second. The number of compressions and rarefactions passed in 1 second is also frequency. Is also frequency. Its unit, SI unit is hertz. Hertz. And it is denoted by the symbol nu. So it is denoted by, this is also Greek letter, nu, N-U, nu. And unit is hertz. Hertz are vibration per second. Unit is hertz, usually denoted by Hz. Now the next one is time period. The time period is defined as the time taken to complete one vibration. Time taken to complete one vibration pattern. So it's nothing but time taken to complete one vibration pattern. It's called time period. Actually, where the word vibration pattern is used, it may be defined as a compression and adjacent rarefaction, or a compression and the next compression, distance between the center of a compression and next consecutive compression, or the distance between the centers of consecutive rarefaction. So this is called a complete vibration pattern or vibration, simply vibration. So since it is time, so its SI unit will be second. So SI unit of time period is second. Second, and it is denoted by T, English letter capital T. This is not Greek letter, this is English letter capital T. And here is a relationship between frequency and time period. Actually, the frequency is the reciprocal of time period. So frequency and time periods are reciprocal to each other. So nu, this is the frequency, and this is reciprocal to time period. So nu equal to 1 by t, or t equal to 1 by nu. Both are true. Both are true. So this is the relationship between frequency and time period. The next characteristic is amplitude. Actually, in sound, the air particle start to vibrate, and it covers a distance from its mean position. So maximum displacement of the particle of the medium from their original undisturbed position or mean position is called amplitude of the wave. Amplitude of the wave. How much maximum displacement was covered by a particle from its mean position? It's called amplitude. So the maximum displacement of the particle of the medium from their original mean undisturbed position. It's called amplitude of wave. So amplitude is usually denoted by capital A, English letter capital A, and its SI unit is meter. Since this is also a length, so its SI unit is meter. Capital A, and its SI unit is meter. Based on the amplitude of sound, we may define two other characteristics like pitch and loudness and timbre of sound. Pitch, loudness and timbre of sound. So above characteristics, we may define pitch of sound. So the pitch of sound depends on the frequency. Frequency of sound. The frequency is more, we will say that the pitch is more. Pitch is more. So it is directly proportional to its frequency. Directly proportional means similar kind of changes are seen with the frequency. If the frequency increases, the pitch increases. If the frequency decreases, the pitch decreases. We can take an example to understand the pitch. The woman's voice. A woman's voice is more shrill. Woman's voice is shrill, having a pitch high. Having a pitch high. While a man's voice is flat, having low pitch. Usually in call centers, one customer care executive must be asked to improve his or her pitch. So there is a man's voice is the example of low pitch, and a woman's voice is the example of high pitch. Usually high pitch sounds have large number of compressions and rare fractions. And low pitch voice have less number of compressions and rare fractions in per unit time. Second one is loudness. So pitch depends on frequency and loudness depends on amplitude. Loudness depends on amplitude of sound. Loudness is the measure of sound energy reaching the ear per second. How much sound energy reached to the ear, human ear, per second is the measure of loudness. So it is the measure of the sound energy reaching the ear per second. Greater the amplitude, greater is the energy, therefore greater the loudness. So therefore greater the loudness. Loudness is measured in decibel. Or usually small d, capital D, decibel. Next one is timbre or quality of voice or sound. Timbre or quality. Actually, timbre is the measurement of shape of sound. And usually it is measured in case of musical sounds. And it helps us to distinguish between two sounds of same pitch or loudness. As the teacher is saying something in the classroom and students are making noise. So there is a property which is used to differentiate the voice of teacher and the voice of students, which is called timbre or quality. So this is just an example. So here we are distinguishing two things. We are distinguishing between the sound of teacher and sound produced by the students. So definitely the sound of teacher have some other pitch and sound of students have some other pitch. So two pitch sounds are distinguished. So this is done by means of quality or timbre. Quality or timbre. Sound having same frequency are called tone. So sound of single frequency it's called tone. And mixture of different frequency it's called note. Tone, while a mixture of different frequency. Usually in noise, so many frequencies are arises together. Different frequencies is called note. So a noise is the example of note. Noise is the example of note. So noise is unpleasant to hear, while music is pleasant to hear. And music is the example of tone and noise is the example of note. So we can say that music is tone and noise is note. In noise, so many frequencies are arises. Characteristic is velocity. I think this one is fifth characteristic. Fifth characteristic is velocity. So how to define this velocity? Distance traveled by sound wave in 1 second. It's called velocity of sound wave. So sound wave in 1 second. Velocity of sound wave. So the velocity is defined by its usual definition: distance traveled upon time taken. In case of sound, it is denoted by capital V, and this is equal to distance traveled, each wavelength lambda divided by t. So V equal to lambda by t. This is one relationship between wave velocity and time period and wavelength, where V implies velocity, lambda wavelength, and t time period. Also we know that what is this 1 by t? 1 by t is the reciprocal of nu, frequency. So since 1 by t equal to nu, therefore we may write it as V equal to nu into lambda. Instead of 1 by t, we wrote nu. So nu into lambda, where nu is frequency. V and nu are different. V and nu are different. Nu is Greek letter, V is English letter. So this is the relationship between velocity, wavelength and time period, and velocity, wavelength and frequency. In the next class we will discuss about the velocity in different mediums, velocity of sound in different mediums. For today that's all for now. अगर आपको हमारी वीडियो अच्छी लग रही हो तो अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ में शेयर करें ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा स्टूडेंट्स इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर सकें। चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करने के बाद बेल आइकन जरूर प्रेस कर दें, जिससे आपको आने वाली सारी नोटिफिकेशंस मिलती रहें और आगे आने वाले सारे वीडियोज़ के बारे में जानकारी मिलती रहे। और कोर्स को प्लेलिस्ट के थ्रू देखें, क्लास वाइज प्लेलिस्ट क्रिएट कर दी गई है, प्लेलिस्ट के थ्रू देखें और सारे कोर्स को कंप्लीट करें। न्यूमेरिकल प्रॉब्लम्स भी चैप्टर के एंड में डिस्कस किए गए हैं, जिससे आपको काफ़ी हेल्प मिलेगी। और अकॉर्डिंग टू CBSE सिलेबस ही सारी चीज़ें डिस्कस की गई हैं, जो कि आपके लिए काफ़ी एग्जाम्स में बेनिफिशियल होगी। थैंक यू।